I'm Gregory Mosley, martial art instructor, and this is Martial Art Universe, bringing you the finest of the martial arts from around the world. Point. Back in 2015, the Museum of the Moving Image, the Fist and Sword series, gave a live event called Martial Art Movie Fantasy vs. Reality. It was hosted by film producer and martial artist Warrington Hudlin. 10 different martial art masters were invited to discuss their favorite martial art movie fight scene and explain and demonstrate how martial arts works in the movies versus real life. This video shows the highlights of that great event.
Bruce Lee himself said, what he does in the movie, he would never do in real life. It kind of, things that look great, the spinning kicks and the jumping and all the big movements, it doesn't take that to take care of business. So what I've done, I've invited some of the most outstanding practitioners here in New York, who really are outstanding practitioners, but also love the movies. I'm asking each of them to talk about the difference between movie martial arts and real life martial arts. Now, some of us are doing double duty. We have Greg Mosley, who's got the camera right there, but he is a master of Kenpo, which is a kind of a hybrid between karate and kung fu, and he's a very savvy aficionado of movies, and he's one of the guys that says, yeah, well, movies is what real life says. So I'm going to first ask Greg Mosley.
My style is Kenpo karate. Kenpo was brought here to the States in part. My movie is called Perfect Weapon. There's not that many movies where they're demonstrating Kenpo. But the end of the movie, he was in a warehouse. Got stuck in a warehouse, and he's fighting about 9 guys. So one guy comes and punches at him. So he does this technique. All techniques have poetic names like kung fu. So he does this technique called thunder and hammer. So he comes in. Here, there's a reaction. For every action, there's a reaction. Kick knee, head, here. Now, in movies, the audience has to be able to see the movement.
Right.
That's why it's elongated. Okay. So that would be the movie version. Combat reality-wise, if he's coming in, I'm gonna come with this one first. Maybe break, then come in. Okay. Or I might bring this over more. Now, instead of me going the elongated way, I'm gonna take this arm, I'm gonna bring this arm in this way. So, that one, here. Then I catch the kidney. Then I'm here. Then I'm back, and I might take this way to get ready for the next guy. Now, there's another technique he does in there with a knife, a blade. We have rubber. Down. It's called rolling forward. Comes here, sticks in the guy's leg, gets stuck there, hits this guy, goes on to the next guy. Reality is, suppose I miss. Get stuck in the leg, I gotta come around and do something else. Okay? Here, but notice the block. You slide off. The slide off is gonna keep on going. So you can go right into the leg. I would pick it up, trap it, throat, eyes, Trap it again, take his head straight down, bring him down to my knee. Another technique he did. Here. Now watch. In the street, my block should be here. Because instead of an elongated block, where the audience can see, you don't want your punch to be telegraphed. I'm gonna come straight this way. Here, as I hit him here, his body's gonna spin. So that opens it up to this. Open right up into the chop. And we can go on and on. So the way the body moves, that's the way you strike. In Kenpo, we know which direction the body's going at all times. Push.
Thank you so much. Please. This brother here is legendary. I would not give a proper introduction, so I'm going to let him do it for himself.
Thanks a lot.
And then he's too humble, I'm going to jump in.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Washington. My name is Ralph Mitchell. I've been involved in the martial arts almost 50 years now.
50!
I was one of the first non-Chinese to learn a Kung Fu system in Chinatown, and there were only 2 schools teaching non-Chinese. The school that I attended was taught by Master Jin Fu Mark, Southern Praying Mantis system. The other school was Master Wai Hong of Fuzhou Pai. And we're talking 1967. So I've been very blessed to have been part of that new culture, new way of non-Chinese learning legitimate martial art. Fast forward, I've also learned other styles along with French Savate. I'm also certified in the Kenpo concept system as well. And I learned how to bridge the gap between traditional martial art along with amateur and professional MMA. I presently have a UFC fighter and fighting tomorrow night. Not to publicize it.
No,
Fight pass. All right? So I've been able to transfer my traditional martial art training into UFC. I know there's a lot of pros and cons about, as far as traditional martial arts, people feel about UFC, but that's another story. But along with what Warrington is talking about, learning how to practice traditional form for self-defense versus form for movies. There's a lot of editing, there's a lot of pulling back. Now I'm actually shooting from the Courtyard because I'm not a choreographer. I'm a professional fighter teacher.
But you can talk about what you see on the screen.
When I see on the screen, depending on the style, the movie, the concept of form, is it a Kung Fu type Hit Man movie versus a MMA movie, it all goes back to photography and choreography, angles, close range versus long range. If you have a fighter that's doing or has very good kicking, you obviously want long pan angles to show the kicks. People we've seen in the past, Floyd Van Dam, whether you like it or not, he had good kicks. He came across well on cinema. So what we're going to briefly try to show you now is how I would do a Southern Mantis technique for form self-defense versus the movie.
Wow. Slowly so people can follow. This is going to slow so you can understand what you're doing.
It's going to be a left jab.
You're going to do a left jab.
Come on, right there. Bang. That's
Wow.
it. Self-defense.
Self-defense. You see the flow from one motion to another.
It comes to my face. Right there.
Continuous flow.
Bang.
Very short movements.
Now, the same concept for film.
For movies,
So the punch.
look how big the motion got much bigger.
Here.
Everything is where you can see it big. So the
Because
camera
I don't
can
want to
catch it.
impede the camera lines, depending upon where the angle of the camera is.
Yes,
So if he comes at me with that punch, I'm here.
So this is for the
Right
camera,
there.
for the benefit of the camera.
From the camera, I'm looking at the camera. Right there, boom. Break into something else, or go from behind. It's all about choreography. It's not particularly realistic, but it catches your eye candy.
The idea is to catch your eye candy, realism, not important.
Right. Now another thing, he'll throw a jab cross.
Jab cross. Wow. Now that's
self-defense. Choreography. Same
choreography.
thing.
Whoa.
Boom. Look at the camera.
Look at the camera.
Boom. Right head into the ground. Boom. Okay.
This is again a demonstration about the differences. So people like this brother and this brother, when they get a movie deal, they have to spend their time unlearning how they do it every day. Because if they come in and do what they saw, the camera won't see it, and you, the audience, won't see it.
And when you're fighting, this is a big tournament champion. He's my senior. He won a lot of tournaments. But you're taught not to show emotion, because when you're fighting your opponent, you want an opponent to know what you're going to do. You can see your eyes. But in the movies, you have to show that emotion.
You have to
So
act.
that's an untraining you have to do to get used to that type of thing.
And you're working with union stuntmen. Gotta give the stuntmen props, because they make us look good in film.
Right.
And stuntmen are the forsaken guys, because a lot of these guys and gals, by the way, they get hurt to make us look good. So I just wanted to shout out, in case there's any stuntmen here, and they make us look good with their falls.
In fact, there's a movement of, what's going to happen, there's a movement to actually get stuntmen Academy Award, Oscar category. Because I think they should too. I mean,
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
That is the partnership between the performer and the stuntman. And one makes, in martial arts, the Japanese martial arts, they call it uki. The person who we receive, and that person will make you look good. Unhappy, I think the part. Yes.
The stuntman committing first.
He just
And then
said,
after many years, and eventually started doing
Jackie
being a
Chan
star.
started his career.
He was the guy.
There's a movie I call The Equalizer with a guy named Denzel Washington.
Yes, oh.
Denzel Washington, yeah. So we did some stuff. And I'm teaching now at a place called Vincent Lyn in Brooklyn. And this young man here who's taping here, he's the one that taught us. So we're going to show you a little something. Movie and not movie. Now, movie, they want to show you something that's attractive, get you excited, and you think, oh, it looks like magic. And so we examined something called the gun is on. By the way, once I was bought a gun for one point, guess what I did? Oh, my money! Let it be, no problem. That was my self-defense weapon. And so I want to show you a little something about that Mr. Powell did, and then Washington did. You come in and say, well, I'll go back. Here's the gun right here. Now, if you, first of all, tell me what it, you got it, and then let him go. Let him go. He's not going to do that. Now, yeah. Well, talk about what happened in the movie. The guy held a gun like that, and the guy took the gun away, and he had the gun. Okay? But he did it really, really quick. The problem with the movie for me is that the gun stayed here, and he took it away. Now, there's a problem here with that, because you might pull the trigger when it's time to do that. Just make sure you have your will written. So, I don't think you should stand there and take the gun away. What I think you should do, get out of the way, and ask him to give you the gun. And what they did in the movie was they grabbed the hand here, the guy let go, and the guy, see, I got the gun. It's not really like that, okay? I teach something that's a little different. When I teach it myself, I get out of the way, I move the weapon out of the way, and I do something called a palm heel strike. You hold your hand like this, and whoa! Now you got the gun. Want to see it again? Watch closely. Have your partner hold the gun like that, and by the way, you have to do this more than 2 or 3 times, about 30 or 40 or 200 or 300 times, but that you make a big mistake. So, you get out of the way, and move yourself out of the and move the gun out of it. In the movie, the guy stays there. Underneath the gun. Don't do that. Don't do that. Get out of the way. Okay, like this. And get out of the way if you don't do anything else. Bring your hand like this. Everybody see that? That's how you got to do it. And take the bottom part of your hand and hit the base like this. Guess what? Your hand is right here. So now you out of the gun. And you back up. In case he has that same idea.
Thank you so much for your 5 minutes. Thank you.
Co-owner at Bronx Judo, but I have a background in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu from a guy named Sinan Antonio Pereira at Bronx. And he was in World War II, he was a commando, he went and learned Aikido, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and Judo, and fused it together. Take a look at him on YouTube. He's a pioneer. People, Albright knows him. He's with, predates Moses Powell, who came with Sirigano, Professor V, and that lineage. So, the movie that I'm going to talk about is Out for Justice, Speed to God. In the 90s, people didn't know much about Aikido, and the circular movements, the Tai Sabaki, which is body evasion. People didn't know any of that. There was a lot of boxing, a lot of kickboxing. So from that genre, I'll just demonstrate a couple of techniques.
James Seagal's Out for Justice. That's the movie.
So you'll see a lot of looping punches, right? Some shionagi, you cut like a sword, up, stay up. Cut like a sword, come out. Down. Other one, right? You're gonna punch, so he drops his hand down, right? Coming for a hip throw, come down. Ski. Straight like a knife. Right? Somebody stab with a knife. Come on. Up. He's a boxer, so he's just. Little bit.
So there you looking for me. Now we have a jiu-jitsu man there in Spain. Okay, Pedro Superior.
All right, he twisted my arm. My thought was, when I first heard the idea, I didn't get a chance to watch the movie so much, although I've seen movies. And I actually got very nervous. I was like, movie, I can't act out a scene. What could I do? So I got here today, I said, I can't figure out the scenes. I don't have time to sit down. So this is Andy Price, one of my disciples, who's also, he stars in Spanish Novelas. He's on Netflix and all that. And I said, what should I do? He says, I can go on YouTube. So actually, we just went on YouTube. And one movie that was real important that I guess I bring something forward was Yip Man 2. And correct me, Rick, if I'm wrong. Yip Man 2 is when Sammo Hung and Donnie Yen had to fight on top of the table. So everybody remember that fight scene?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk about one particular technique. But before I talk about that, just really quickly, a little trivia. Sammo Hung had a heart condition that had happened during that time, and he was in the hospital. So he asked who could take your spot. And they said, my teacher, which is Grandmaster Frank Yi. So the crew traveled to Toisan and to my teacher, and they filmed him for 5 hours. Had to set up the school, had to set up the line heads, had to do all this stuff. They filmed him for 5 hours, doing techniques and things like that. So we got to see a few of the techniques that were actually put on there, actually on the screen, go to the screen, because Sam was able to get a stint in start and all that. So one particular scene, he's fighting Donnie Yen, who you know does Wing Chun. He's doing the straight punches. Now, if a person does a straight punch, it's very fast. So he throws straight punch and punch and punch. When you have a straight line and you try to meet with a circle, it becomes difficult. So in the film, he would go here and try to strike here, but a straight line will always beat it. So he was trying to use the hook of the crane. So what would have been a little more realistic is if his hands were up and the punch came, and he turn. Now, this particular motion didn't do a circle. This literally dropped down. This straight for straight. But the waist creates the circle. And then he moves forward, right? So from this scene, he should have turned his right, and he would have been on top of him right away. And that's the scene.
Had Jackie Chan, Operation Condor, those who know that movie. But he also, in real life, Vincent Lyn. Please help me.
Thank you, Warrington. I went to Hong Kong in 1988, actually really the beginning of what they call the golden age of Hong Kong cinema. I was originally thought, just do this one movie, go back and teach martial arts in America. But one movie became 25. And first film, I was brought over by the famous Hong Kong director, action choreographer, who's now known the world over. Kenpo and was famous for doing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Kill Bill, Matrix, so many other action films. And so I want to take a piece of choreography from that first film. I was completely new to doing action choreography for film, so I had not a clue what I was doing, completely wet behind the ears. And obviously I believe real fighting it's a lot easier than film fighting. So Rick, can I... All right, so the scene was I played the leader of this mafia gang, and in the end, I'm supposed to have this fight scene with one of the lead actors who was actually a very, very famous Hong Kong pop star and actor called Jackie Chan. And Donnie Yen, who was also in the film, and actually he died, he gets shot in the head halfway through the film. And actually Warrington, they're going to be screening Tiger Cage here.
Absolutely. Right? Tiger Cage, and so was in it. Do a commercial, man.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Donnie Yen, Simon Yam, Jackie Chan, me, Wong Lung Wai. That's all. There are many, many famous songs, and directed by Kenpo Ping. So Donnie Yen did all the doubling for Jackie Chan. So, wait, can you stand here a second? So I'll set up the premise of the thing. Jackie runs at me to throw a straight right hand. And if you can run at you and throw it straight. Yeah, I'll run it. Okay. So you hit it? Okay, I'll speak loud. So the idea is behind him, say where that tree is, a little further back, are it's the pavement where there are bars, where it's streamlines all the way down the pavement. So what I was supposed to do was supposed to get this timing. As he gets in range, I'm supposed to bring my right foot and hit him with a crescent kick, right? And from the crescent kick, and then I'm supposed to hit him with the side kick. So we did this about 30, 40 times on the right side. It wasn't working. So Kenpo Ping says, we're going to do it on the left side. So boom, I hit him there, then I hit him with the side kick. And he's supposed to fall back and hit this bar like this, right? Right. And I come running over, so put your back on this, like this. Put your hands up. So I come running over and I'm like, boom, boom. He ducks it, boom. And then the one shot where they do the close-up of me going, pow, this way, and hit him with the elbow. And from that, what happens is, I'm supposed to back up. Donnie Yen now steps in. Donnie? And does this jump, puts his foot up on the bar, and comes around with his jump roundhouse kick and hits me right in the face. Right. So it took, oh my God, I want to say all night just to do this one shot.
You going to demonstrate that?
Huh?
You going to jump?
I'm supposed to jump.
Oh, okay.
It's a tree, man. I need to hold.
Okay.
So, go. So I think a lot of us would agree that it's pretty much ridiculous, right? But at that period of the start of the golden age, they would, let's see, there's 1 shot, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 10 moves in sequence. So they do 1 long shot from like where you're standing back there, so that they capture this entire piece. And then they would inset the small close-ups, like from here. And of course his reaction to this, especially my reaction to getting kicked in the face, right? If they want real close-up, what they would do is they would actually get, it's a boot of a leg, and they would put some kind of water or powder, and they would have someone hold the boot and hit me in the side of the face. Yeah, I mean, it looks great. And what I had to do was, they put this turtle shell to protect my spine. So I'm supposed to do a double turn, 360-degree, boom, and land on what was this. Never done anything like this before. And so they put the rubber down, and I did it the first time. The second time, I said, okay. And they took the rubber away and said, now you're going to do it on the concrete. And I said, okay. And he just said, remember, after you do this, because they had another camera on the floor, make sure you look at the camera in pain. So I said, I don't think there's going to be a problem with that. So I did this thing, I did this, what they call this zoom mode, boom, land on the back, and it was perfect. And I forgot to look at the camera. So I had to do the whole thing again, and that's of course when I got hurt. Yeah, but that's the shot they kept in.
Now, what would you do in reality?
Okay.
Instead of doing all that.
Let's just say you're
Let's
throwing.
say I'm stupid enough to try to punch you.
Right. If you're throwing, and I'm going to do this, right? Staying close with him. So if he's coming in, let's say here, boom, 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 right? Here, pop, this way, bam, right? And taking him down this way, but everything very close. It is. If it's coming, if you're staying, if that's the outside, here, right? If I'm staying on the inside, then I might lock this here. Right? Yeah, there's a good reaction. Right? But keeping everything very, very close.
Yeah.
Right? Not hitting him long range, which knocks him back so that I have to stay on top of him the whole time, but keeping him really close to me. Yeah.
You seem upset. Can I buy you a beer?
I don't drink.
Oh, can I buy you a lemonade?
Thank you.
Yes.
All right,